I'd say Miss Love and Mr. Callie, along with a third-party male energy, have some explaining to do in regards to Kurt Cobain's final hour. I wanted to look into his last hour before he allegedly took his own life. So in the RV session with clairaudience, which is sound, I was able to pick up his mental state the final hour before he passed. He felt very fogged, slowed down, and drugged. I see him being slumped over, detached. Not because he wants to be detached, but because the drugs, he's detached. And also, he is not suicidal, but instead more out of control. Like things are going on around him, but he's not causing it himself. So it's not from him, but the people in his environment. I get 3 people. So the presence in the room besides Kurt, I am getting a man named Callie, we know as Mr. DeWitt, who was like a bodyguard slash housekeeper slash, I don't know, but he was, I feel his energy there. And I'm also seeing him pacing the floor. He's just pacing the floors. And there's another man that is tied into Courtney's orbit. It feels to be a financial type of connection with the second guy. I have made a facial sketch from that. I don't know how accurate it is, but it could be, because I am seeing a dark male and the dark energy around the man, and the sketch kind of deciphers that. So I'm going to share that at the end of this video. The initials for the second man, not Callie, but the second man could be initial T or D. Don, Tom, or even Tony, but Don, Tom, okay, initial T, all right, is possibly the second man. And within 35 minutes of looking into this, I knew right away it was heartbreaking. I loved Nirvana, and I appreciate the band even more now that I'm older, okay? So at some point, Kurt is nearly incapacitated. Incapacitated, right? Too weak to resist anything going on in his surroundings. Don't worry, Miss Love is in the background. She isn't going anywhere. So you have 2 males working around him and a female in the background, indirectly connected, if not connected. I believe that Kurt's heroin dose was significant. Not his normal dose, not something he would take on a normal base. This was a high dose, not chosen by Kurt. And he was given this in hopes he would just overdose. I believe that. But instead he went into a deep haze. I saw a man standing with a gun. This is what I saw in my channeling. And he was handling it, like playing with it, trying to get a feel for it, like what position. Yeah, and Kurt at this time, towards the end of his death, he was already unresponsive when the weapon was positioned. He was already unresponsive. I know this sounds terrible, but I'm like, I hope that's a good thing, because the gun was placed, you know, there's a sudden bang. Sounds like fireworks. And there's also another set of hands around this weapon, trying to pull his hands on the weapon is what I was being shown, but it doesn't work that way. The other person with intention pulled the trigger, because I get that Kurt was so unresponsive and out of it, he was lax. You know what I mean? Like his hands were like floppy. They couldn't put a grip on his hand on the gun. The note sitting nearby. So the first half of the note, it looks like Kurt Cobain, it feels authentic that he did write something about despair, in regards to leaving Nirvana, the band he was in, that he sung for. It does look like he started to write something. And I don't know if that's public, but I'm seeing that there's a piece of paper and he was just going to write down how he felt about leaving his band members, his band in general. But the last two lines where it says goodbye to Courtney and Frances, which is his daughter that he has with Courtney, are not Kurt's hands. There's a different energy. In fact, it feels like the feminine energy started to write that. And then she caught herself and said, no, you need to write this because they might know my handwriting. So the other male energy, this could be where I'm getting the Don or the Tom energy, comes in and writes what she is saying. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, right? There's a lot of Mars energy around this, sudden events to take place. So my overall read. So overall, what I'm seeing here, to break it down briefly, so it's not as confusing, I get a Tom or Don. I'm also seeing Mr. DeWitt, known as Callie, involved, and Courtney herself as a heavy influence in all this. I see violence from another male in regards to the gun. A handler, which would be, I don't need to say who, you know who. A feminine influence hidden, and there's a masculine front doing all of her dirty work. It's a planned effort. Again, staged with heroin influence. A faked suicide narrative was supposed to be the plan, but because he wasn't going quick enough, the heroin did not take him out. They chose a handgun, a pistol, or shotgun, excuse me. The two hands wrote on that letter, I get two hands. And actually, there's almost like a third one. And then she's like, no, you have to do it because they can identify my handwriting. That's what I'm getting. I feel like the orchestrator is Love, herself, and Callie is the physical presence, along with possibly this third energy. I'm getting the T or D initials. All right. And that's what I'm seeing. It's such a sad thing. And I hope that they reopen this case. I think they will. And I see charges. I see murder charges coming for this horrific thing, because Kurt, he was a one of a kind. Yeah, he had issues. I know he did. But he wasn't going to kill himself. He wasn't that low. Not yet. And she wanted him to get him out of the way. I think there was a love triangle, third party somewhere in all of this. And yeah, I do see charges coming, and I do see justice for Kurt Cobain. I think that he was murdered. He was murdered, I do believe. And I see at least 1 to 2 people arrested for his murder.